Hey guys, it's Greg here again. Wyatt's Rise. I just want to reach out to y'all on this Saturday afternoon. Just trying to think of some high points to let everybody know what goes on with us. And anyway, most of y'all know about Wyatt's truck. Wyatt's truck was bought for him. He was 18 months old, and we bought that truck. It was already a special truck. We just didn't know how special, but we bought it for him. It was going to be his truck when he got to be 16, and our goal was, well, I thought, when White gets to be 12 years old, we'll tear the truck down, and me and him and Christy will all three will rebuild this truck. And I thought, what a special truck that'll be. And then he'd be the coolest kid in town because he would have one fine truck. Well, life didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to, and so we've had this truck ever since he was 18 months old. And we just kept thinking, hey, it's time to rebuild that truck. Let's go ahead. I told Christy one day, I said, we're not getting any younger. If we're going to do it, we need to go ahead and do it now. And so I got hired to be a judge at a car show in Hiawassee, Georgia, which they are now like family to me. And I went over there to this place, and honestly, I nearly didn't go. Had so much going on, and I thought, I told Chris, I said, I just really didn't want to go, but I said I done promised him I would, and thankfully I did, because I had no idea that God was opening up a door for us that was just unbelievable what was coming our way. And so I got over there, met some really great people, and while I'm there, if I'm ever at a car show judging, I hand out pamphlets. So when I hand out these pamphlets, it's also, I let everybody know what we're a part of, and, just to kind of introduce who we are. And so I'm looking at this real beautiful Camaro. I'm overlooking at this car is perfect. And I met the builder. They were there with their tent set up, and we got to talking, and the builder was Flatwood Customs. So I'm going to make this whole episode about Flatwood Customs and a few other people. But while we're there, Lamar Gregory, he's the owner of Flatwood Customs. He came by, and we talked about his car a little bit, and then he came back later and he said, "Hey, what's with this logo on this pamphlet?" And I said, "Well, that was my little boy's truck." And I told him the story behind it and what was, we was planning on building it, And so there we was. He came back later and he's like, "Well, what would you do if you built that truck?" And of course, everybody's got dreams. So I laid out all the things I wanted to do to that truck, and how special it was going to be. Well, then at the end of that show that weekend, he came by and gave me his business card, and he said, "Hey," he says, "we need to get together. We need to talk." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't figure to go much further, because when I go to these shows, I'm all the time getting people come to me and promising want to do something, and then in the heat of the moment, I know everybody gets passionate, and most of them never come through. Well, Lamar did. That Monday morning, I got a phone call, and Lamar's called me. Says, "Hey," he says, I've read this pamphlet, and I just can't get it off my mind." He said, "I keep thinking about y'all," and he said, "Here's what we want to do." He said, "We want to build Wyatt's truck." Okay, and I thought, well, that's fine. I said, "But we're broke." I said, I'd already told him previous the only way we could build that truck, we were going to sell some vehicles, because of course we got old classic cars and trucks, and that's when we're broke. So that's why our money was all in our old vehicles. And he said, "No, let's don't worry about money right now." He said, let's work on getting some sponsors on board, and let's see about getting some vendors out there that give some good discounts, and we'll go from there." So it's funny, this is how God works, because before I left to go to that show, me and Christy walked in our shop, and we looked around. We said, we don't have anybody to leave anything to. It's just me and her. And we both agreed, hey, why don't we sell everything we got, and let's just dump it all on this truck, because the truck's never going to be sold, and let's see what happens. Well, I really believed this later on after me and Lamar had that conversation. Of course, I agreed, let's do it. And, I felt like God was saying, "You know what? You were willing to give up all your worldly possessions here to make this one dream come true." And I feel like he was saying, "Hey, boy, won't you just stand still? Let me show you what I can do." So long story short, the truck is in Duncan, South Carolina at Flatwood Customs. And now we have dumped a lot of money of our own into this build, but we've had a lot of sponsors that came on. Some things were donated, some things they gave us very good discounts. But and then of course Flatwood Customs, they've got a fortune of their own tied up into this, and it's just been a blessing because the people from that one show at Hiwassee, it started with a person, Coy Atkins, that hired me to come and be at that show, which is now family, all the way to the F100 Super Nationals. I got those guys; they were there at that show. They're now out family, and of course Flatwood Customs, their family. All these people have become family, and it's all through this one truck. And so that alone just tells me that there's a plan behind this. And if anybody came to our show in October, you got to see what the truck looked like. Now the truck's about 3/4 of the way finished. They still got a ways to go, and still some more money to dump on it, of course. So one thing we are doing is anybody that's been a sponsor or a vendor on this truck, we're making sure that you will get a lot of advertisement out of this. As the truck goes on a tour this coming year, it's going to be seen in a lot of places. So it's a great way to advertise your business and to gain a lot of customers in the future, because this truck is absolutely beautiful. And if you were at our show in October, you got to see what it looked like. Well, if you can see here, this is the truck. This is a 68 Ford F100. It was white, still is white. And of course on the back here, Flatwood Customs, Christy Gregory made these. You see the QR codes. I hope y'all can see those. So if you want to go on there, if you want to scan those, and it's got White's Rides QR code, it's got Flatwood Customs QR code. All right, she made these, and these are just absolutely beautiful. We've been handing these out to everybody. And there's just going to be so much come from this truck. It's just going to be unbelievable. The whole deal with this, everything's been lining up. First of all, Lamar Gregory, my name is Gregory. Okay, I go by Greg. Their last name is Gregory. His wife's name is Christy. My wife's name's Christy. We've had a lot of those, I call it connecting the dots, happen. And later they got to figuring out, since they opened their new shop up there in Duncan, South Carolina, this is the 17th build, and it's also the 7th Ford that they built. Now, those numbers, 717, that comes right back here. You'll notice 717. That's the time that Wyatt had passed away. Those numbers have came back many times on this build. They've had a lot of things that's happened, like, wow, would you look at this? And those numbers just keep coming back. So if you were at our show in October, you got to see the truck. Their goal is to have it finished in May, and May will be the Tupelo Blue Suede Cruise Show over in Tupelo, Mississippi. So, come over there if you're available and see the truck. It'll be on the inside. So, like I said, this has just been a true blessing, and the Gregorys, they have become family to us, and I highly recommend them. Everything they build at their shop there in Duncan, South Carolina at Flatwood Customs, it is top notch. This is bigger and better than anything we could have ever planned or dreamed, actually. I know we could have never put out this kind of perfection here in my shop for sure. We would have just been fixing up an old truck. But this thing is absolutely beautiful. It has a Godzilla drivetrain in it. And the reason I chose that is because Wyatt loved dinosaurs. Prior to me meeting Lamar, I had already decided. I was in the shop one day and it hit me like a rock. Out of the blue, I thought Godzilla was a dinosaur. And Wyatt loved dinosaurs. I said, well, that truck's got to have a Godzilla. So that's where we're at with that. And so it's going to just be a beautiful truck. It's going to be a show truck, but it'll be one you can drive anywhere. And so, guys, again, if you're looking for somebody to build you a sure enough one-off custom, go to Flatwood Customs, Duncan, South Carolina. Again, right here are the QR codes. Check them out. And, they could build you something just like this, or they go way over the top, whatever you're looking for. But it's just amazing. If you don't belong to the car world, you need to belong to the car world, because there's some amazing people in this. And again, we have had so many people come into our life over this build that are now truly like family. They become part of White's Rides family also, and they believe in what we're doing. And guys, I just can't wait to see this truck finished. And I can't wait to see what happens with this truck once it is completed, because I know that it's going to be a part of our mission, and you'll be seeing it go places. The truck will never be for sale. You'll never see it go across the auction block. We've already got it set up where the truck belongs to White's Rides. So, like I said, this is definitely a family heirloom. And when me and Christy pass away, the truck again will belong to White's Rides. So it'll be preserved forever. So, guys, I thank y'all, and I just want to do a shout out again. Flatwood Customs, Duncan, South Carolina. Check these guys out, and you will not be disappointed. They're great people, and they're doing great things. So, again, thank y'all. I really appreciate everybody, and stay tuned.